In a charming village nestled between rolling hills, a young couple named Jacques and Marie lived a simple life. They were deeply in love and known throughout the village for their strong bond. However, their lives were about to change when they decided to acquire a donkey. With excitement in his eyes, Jacques proposed the idea to Marie one sunny morning while they tended to their garden. "Marie," he began, "I've been thinking. A donkey could be a great addition to our farm. It would make our work much easier." As days turned into weeks, the donkey became more than just a farm helper to him. Jacques spent hours grooming the donkey's sleek coat, chatting with it as if it understood every word. His affection for the animal grew so strong that he even named it Buddy. Marie, however, began to feel a pang of jealousy as she noticed Jacques' increasing attachment to Buddy.
"Jacques,
She gently voiced her concern one evening.
I'm happy you're taking care of Buddy, but I miss our time together."
Jacques, caught off guard, replied, "Oh, don't worry, Marie. Buddy needs attention too. But I'll make time for you, I promise." Despite his promise, Jacques found himself spending more time with Buddy than with Marie. He would recount his day to the donkey, telling it stories of village gossip and their own adventures. As Marie tried to capture Jacques' attention, she found herself often talking to the wind, feeling ignored and isolated. One day, she mustered the courage to confront Jacques about his neglect.
"Jacques,
Marie said, her voice shaky.
I've noticed you've been spending all your time with Buddy. What about us?"
Jacques looked at her with a puzzled expression, as if he hadn't fully comprehended the impact of his actions. "Marie, Buddy is special. It can't fend for itself like we can." Marie's eyes welled with tears.
"But, Jacques,
She said,
I'm feeling lonely. I want you to be there for me too."
as Marie grew increasingly concerned about Jacques' obsession with the donkey, Buddy, she devised a plan to help him realize the extent of his neglect. Marie's plan involved simulating Buddy's illness in a way that would make Jacques believe the donkey was in critical condition. She knew that this drastic step might be the only way to open Jacques' eyes to the impact of his actions. One morning, as Jacques went about his usual routine, Marie rushed towards him with urgency in her voice.
"Jacques,
Marie exclaimed, her voice trembling with apparent distress.
something's wrong with Buddy. He's not moving, and he seems really sick."
Jacques, startled by Marie's words, immediately abandoned whatever he was doing and followed her to where Buddy was kept. His heart raced as he saw the donkey lying down and seemingly unresponsive. Marie watched Jacques closely, her heart heavy with the guilt of deceiving him. She had made sure that Buddy was simply resting peacefully and not moving as part of their plan. Jacques knelt beside Buddy, his hands trembling as he tried to feel the donkey's pulse and assess his condition. "Marie, fetch some water," Jacques called out, his voice laden with concern. Marie hurried to fetch a bucket of water, her emotions a mix of apprehension and sorrow for having to put Jacques through this ordeal. As Jacques continued his efforts to care for the donkey, Marie watched his anguish with a heavy heart. She knew that what they were doing was emotionally manipulative, but she believed it was the only way to make Jacques realize the consequences of his obsession. Eventually, with a heart full of remorse, Marie approached Jacques as he looked up at her, his eyes welling with tears.
Jacques,
Marie began, her voice gentle but heavy with sadness.
I'm so sorry. Despite our efforts, Buddy didn't make it.
Jacques stared at her in shock, his face contorting with disbelief. No. How could this happen? Tears streamed down Marie's face as she feigned her own sorrow, knowing that she had successfully manipulated the situation to make Jacques confront the impact of his obsession. The loss of Buddy served as a wake-up call for Jacques. He finally realized the extent of his obsession and how it had impacted Marie. Marie, he said with remorse, I can't believe I let myself get carried away. I've neglected you. Marie nodded sadly.
Sometimes it takes a loss to truly see what's important.
From that day forward, Jacques worked hard to mend their relationship. He spent quality time with Marie, making her feel cherished and loved.